All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 1 of Above the Rim, the Manly Family Podcast. This is essentially my new show that we're running here at Manly Basketball, and it will cover all things NBL1 and Youth League and all of our junior league teams, anything exciting that is going on with our juniors, and all of the interesting and wonderful things happening here at Manly Basketball. For our first episode, we had to go big. We had to get a super exciting and special guest. This man coaches our under-18 JPL team. He's been a part of the Manly family for decades. He's even an assistant coach on the Sydney Kings, and sometimes he tries to still play NBL1. None other than Lachie Clark, a good friend of mine. So it was great to have Lachie on the first episode. Without further ado, here is episode number 1 of Above the Rim, the Manly Family Podcast with Lachie Clark. Go Manly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Above the Rim, the Manly Family Podcast. On the court, in the community, and above the rim. So I'm joined today for our very first episode by none other than
Lachie Clark.
Lachie Clark, the one and only. Lachie is currently playing in our NBL1 team, has been for the last few years, and also coaching our 18s JPL team this year. Been a coach for a few years and actually started at Manly, under 12s?
14s.
Under 14s?
So that was 12 or
decades
13?
ago now?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a very long time ago.
Played all the way through, played Youth League, had one year that we won't mention where he kind of bailed, but we won't touch on that. It's a story for another day. But yeah, basically the Above the Rim show, we'll talk about our senior league teams, we'll recap our last NBL1 round and senior rounds, preview the next one, and then maybe have a little fun at the end. So no time like the present, Lachlan, let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
So last week, our NBL1 teams played the Bankstown Bruins at home and came away with 2 good wins. Lachlan, any thoughts?
The men's team, we were just on fire. We came out super strong from the start. I think it was maybe a 18 or 19 point lead to start the first quarter, and we just kind of held our own and kept some comfortable space from there. Didn't really let them come back, but yeah, it was a great first win at home in a long time.
Yeah, been a while. Our first win at home against North the other week, and then we got a 98-73 win over the Bruins, much needed.
Yeah.
Took us to 3-3 on the season, finally back at 500. And,
uphill from here.
As you mentioned, 20-1 run to start, and 4 of 4 from 3 to start the game. That generally helps to put you on the right start.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Preston Purifoy, Big P, 25 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists and 2 steals in that one.
Shooting the lights out.
5 of 8 from 3, finally starting to find his groove. Yeah. And I did look at this. He had 9 points in his first game against the COE down in Canberra, and he's had 20 plus every game since.
Yeah.
And he's just getting more and more efficient.
Just had to wait for the lid to come off. Once that was taken off, you knew it was going to be smooth sailing from there.
As you mentioned, 18 of 38 from 3 as a team, and that's good for 47%. I think the other real standout in that one was Skip Mason. Yeah, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists and 3 steals. Had a couple of threes in that one and really let the bench know about it too.
Yeah, no, when he's making some threes, it just opens up the whole floor for him and for the rest of the team. So that's one of the most important parts of his game, I think. If he can knock down a couple early, it's just going to create so much more for the rest of us.
I think as well, when everyone's hitting threes, it just makes, obviously 18's a ton.
Yeah.
But with the team that we've got a lot of shooters. So if we're all hitting threes, it just opens up everything for everyone. And we had 24 assists as a team and only 9 turnovers.
Yeah.
So that's pretty efficient.
Very good.
I think another good note from that game was Jackson Smythe making his NBL1 debut.
Yeah, good to see the young buck get on the court.
Manly Junior. And we move over to the women's game. They had a solid win as well, 93-55 over the Bruins, and that takes them to 4-2 on the season. Did you catch much of that one?
No, I didn't.
No?
I just saw the score online, and it was just, they're a deep team. Taylor's come in, and she's just instant impact. She's a beast.
Yeah. You were, busy coaching?
Yeah, I was away that weekend.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah. But you're right. Taylor Wirtz, 24 points and 4 rebounds. The Seagulls got out early and never really looked like slowing down. They led the whole way through, just dominated. Josie Bullman doing what she does, 13 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, nearly a triple-double in limited minutes. And then again, they did a really good job with the ball, 28 assists and 12 turnovers as a team, and shot it at 14 from 33 from 3. If you hit 14 threes in a game at an efficient clip above 40%, you're going to do pretty well.
Yeah.
You mentioned Taylor, top 20 in the country in scoring at about 20 a game and 6th in the East.
Yeah, she's killing it.
So she's come over and has just been absolutely balling. And then another big debut from the women's side, Neve Smith, making her NBL1 debut. It's always
Congratulations, Neve.
Great job. And I think the girls, they're really starting to click. They had a couple of tough losses to start, but now they're 4-2, looking to go above 500, keep going above 500, and they're starting to really click. I think Kim Hodge is really finding her groove again. Zoe Miller back after missing a game or two with an injury. They're going to be tough down the line. So we'll move into our youth league teams. Our women's team had a huge win over the Bankstown Bruins, 83-40. And I think the interesting thing from that game is everyone hit the score sheet. 4 players in double figures, and Sari Mowbray led the way with 17 points. So
Sari, the local legend.
Well,
she's been balling.
This is the thing. There's at least Sari and Chloe that I can think of off the top of my head. I know Neve as well on the weekend, but Liv and Freya, there's 5 girls in that team that either train or play, or minimum of 5 with the NBL1 team. Yeah. It just shows how strong our youth league team is, that they can do both, and it's good to see our NBL1 stars, Sari and Chloe, playing both if they're able to.
Yeah. No, it adds a level of experience where if you're training with the top team and then you end up playing with your youth league team, you're going to dominate that comp, and then it's going to translate to when you finally get that chance to hit the court for the NBL1 team.
For sure. And speaking of dominating, you've pretty much summed it up. The youth women, they're currently first, undefeated, 7-0. And, so far, I don't think any team has really come close. It's been about 20 or 30 points most weekends.
They've been
what James has said.
Stand out for the last 4 or 5 years. They've always made finals weekend. I think they got unlucky once or twice, but they've been...
They won it not too long ago.
Yeah, probably the favourite for the last 3-4 years. So hopefully they keep that momentum up and they can get there again.
Agreed. And I think another big shout out to some of our youth league stars I did mention, Freya and Liv, on their commitments to colleges. So well done, girls. Freya committing to Pepperdine over on the West Coast, I believe, and Liv to Lehigh, going to go and join fellow Eagle Alana Reddy over on the East Coast.
How exciting.
That's pretty sick. Well done, girls. Move over to our men's side. We won the poor youth league men, the ones, they went down in dramatic fashion, 78-80, a bank three on the buzzer. We won't dwell on that too much, but that's a tough way to lose.
That's literally the worst. You may as well lose by 30.
I think I saw the clip. They were right there. There wasn't much that could have been done, and it was just a tough shot. But Ethan Buchanan, he had 17 points in that game, and they've been doing a really good job. They're currently second on the ladder, 5 wins and 2 losses. Actually, both of their losses coming to Bankstown. So, funnily enough, they play them twice and lose to them twice.
Yeah, they're a pretty deep team. They're quite young too. They got a few of the older vets. Yeah, I think they're pretty deep.
You've seen how many of them have been at training?
No, don't pay that much.
I think they're struggling with injuries, but
when they're healthy,
when they get everyone back,
they've definitely got a squad on them.
100%.
Their main core's a mixture of the young and the old, so that's always what you want to see.
I think it would go without saying that the real driver in that team is Ollie Hammond.
Yeah.
He was our Player of the Month for our senior teams recently, Clark and Hummel Player of the Month, and he's also the 4th leading scorer in Youth League at 22 points a game. So he's really driving that team, having watched a few of their games, and then guys like Taz Parnell, Nick Kimball, and even Jack Gibbons coming in from Hornsby. They're playing such good basketball as a team. Everyone's doing such a good job.
They're gelling well. It's good to see.
Awesome. We move over to our youth men too. They had a big doubleheader and they picked up 2 wins. So they had a 118-74 win over Penrith, and then 102-62 over Springwood. So plenty of defense being played in those games. Some stats from Penrith: Mark Zallar, 22 points. Oscar Bellevue with 20, and Ollie Lucas with 23.
Ollie Lucas. Shout out to the Lucas family.
Plenty of spin moves in that, 23 points, I bet. And then in their game against Springwood here Ollie had 27 points and Oscar Reeve with 20. So Ollie Lucas averaging 25 over the weekend. That's pretty solid. And then sitting third on the ladder at 6-2. So Youth 2's doing a pretty good job. I thought they were about 4-2. So 2 big wins for them this weekend puts them well above 500.
Good to see the whole Youth League branch, the women and the men's, they're all sort of top of their comp, which is good.
Yeah, it just shows like everyone's doing really well and playing some pretty good basketball. So we'll keep checking in on them every week and see how they're going. Might try and wrangle some of those Youth League stars, get them on the show. All right, moving on. The JPL Central Venue round. So that's where you were at, Lachlan. Where were you?
Yeah, my guys, we played in Penrith all weekend.
Lovely.
So, yeah, just where I'd rather be. No, I'm in charge of the 18 boys, and we had a good weekend. We had 2 wins on the Saturday, and then we played Canberra on the Sunday, and we got up by about 56 in the end. So that was first little game back in a month and a half with the Easter break and under-18 nationals. Shout out to 3 of my boys for making that team. Almost got it done. Silver's just as good though. But yeah, 3 wins over the weekend is very impressive, seeing they haven't played in a long time. So
100%. So
good to see.
Lots of positives to take out of the weekend.
Absolutely.
Looking good for the rest of the year.
Yep, got Comets on the weekend, so that'll be a tough one. No Nick Valkovic, so yeah, it'll be tough.
All right, and I think just capping up the rest of our teams, the 18 girls, they had 3 wins. Tim Hill said that was a good weekend for them. They had some pretty good results. The 14 boys, Harry, he said that they had 4 wins out of 4, so a huge weekend for his team. And then the 14 girls, they went 2-1, so some good results from all around, dropping 1 game out of, quick maths, 13 games? That's pretty good for our 18s and 14s. So
pushing for the Classic.
Yeah, hopefully it'd be good to get
so
a lot of our teams down there at the Classic.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. You reckon you guys will get there?
Fingers crossed. I think it's top 2 in each comp, so we're sitting first, tied with Bankstown.
Lovely.
At the moment, so yeah, hopefully.
Beautiful. All right, moving forward. Next week, so our NBL1 team's taking on the Sydney Comets this Saturday over at Alexandria. Lock, first thoughts of going out to Comets?
When you say the word Comets, it just brings a flashback to last year, right? Like, first home game we lost all year, coming off a heartbreaking qualifying final up in Maitland where we lost on the buzzer, and Comets just came here and just
took
unleashed, and yeah, they punked us big time, which was an absolutely devastating way to go out.
Yeah. So it's going to be a big one for a number of reasons. I think the men's team, they really need to get this one, and then also they want some revenge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. Let's spoil some fun for the weekend.
Yes, so both Comets teams had a win last weekend against Penrith, so they're rolling in a bit of form. They're feeling confident, and as you mentioned, plenty of bad blood. They knocked us out last year, and then with Bawali Bales back in the lineup.
Back from Europe.
Yep, so he'll be back this weekend, so that's going to be a huge matchup. Bawali and Mason once again. Maybe Zay Preston and Obi. Zay might take a turn guarding Bawali, so it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that one pans out. Obviously, you mentioned Obi Che, Player of the Week last week for the East, coming off 24 points and 15 rebounds. What are the boys thinking? How do we slow him down?
Well, he loves that right hand of his, so I guess there's ways to stop it. So I guess we just got to trust in Tim and have a good training on Thursday, and we'll be well prepared. And we just got to go out and do it, I guess.
Boys are fired up.
Yeah, ready to go. Excited.
Good stuff. And then on the women's side, Comets, they're pretty good too. They're strong. Abby Curtin, she's averaging 25 points and 10 rebounds a game. And Piper Anderson going for about 16 a game. So plenty of WNBL experience in that group. I think it was Townsville that Abby might have played a little bit with. And then Piper spent last year and I think the year before with the Flames. Yeah. So, I mean, they're no slouch. And at home, Comets on that favourable home court. It's just that
short,
a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter. Everything just seems that little bit tougher. So Comments at home, that's going to be a real tricky one.
Yeah.
So
Very, very excited for it.
looking forward to a couple of wins on the weekend and hopefully having some jovial chats about that this weekend with whoever's on the show. And then for our youth league teams, our youth men 1 and our youth women are both at Comet, so they'll play in the afternoon, looking to get a couple of W's. The women looking to stay undefeated and the men looking to bounce back. So I think they'll have some pretty tricky games on their hands. And then the men's 2 team, they're over at Hornsby. So again, looking to go 3 in a row, I think. That would be really good for them if they can get that one. All right. Now, our final segment of the show, Lachlan, I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Oh boy.
All right.
Here
I just
we go.
want the first thing that comes to your head.
Sure.
Now, don't overthink it.
Yep.
Should be really easy for you.
Perfect.
All right. Just the first thing that comes to your head.
Sounds good.
All right. Your favorite song right now?
Probably Believe by Cher.
Game day superstition.
I don't really believe in that stuff. I just
You just rock up and get
eat,
buckets.
rock up. Yeah.
Sure you
Used
do.
to.
Yeah. Actually, coming off an injury, we didn't talk about that. This is your first game back.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Favorite part about the Manly family?
Probably just the culture and the team bonding. Like, as Lucas mentioned before, I've been here for 12 plus years and it's just very warming when you get in here. If you fit in, you fit in, and it's perfect. Like, there's nothing really that beats it.
Now, this one really applies to you. The first thought when you brick your first shot of the game?
Don't shoot again. Pass the ball. Not your day, son.
Again, this one might apply to you. Your favorite celebration when you're on the bench?
I don't really sit on the bench that much, but usually when I'm on the court, I like to just put up the gang sign whenever we bang in threes, baby. Let's go!
All right. Tim Hill.
What, first thing that comes to mind
First
about
thought, Tim Hill.
Coach?
Just ask.
That's fine.
You're going to say something nice, try and get some minutes on the weekend.
He's coached me for many years.
All right, and the last one, Norths.
Hate them.
Oh,
Hate them.
I thought you were going to say...
Oh, actually, yes. Game winner.
If you
In
know-
overtime, down by 1. Check the link in my Instagram bio if you want to see it.
If you know, you know.
Team pass. Team pass. Team pass. Team pass. Team pass.
Yeah. Gang.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Thank you for joining us on the very first episode of the Above the Rim show, the Manly Family podcast. Thanks, Lachlan.
Thank you very much, Lucas.
See you guys next week. See you next week. You good to go? All right.
I'm so nervous. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.